All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. Once again, it's Apostle Deut Bakar, FTL Fatherland Camp. This is King David is Still Alive, Part 3. Another quick hit, picking up off of the last video, getting straight to the point. Um, just to do a little recap, man, we're just going to read through Jeremiah chapter 30 one more again. And if you haven't seen the first two videos, you need to watch those because this is very meticulous, because people have to be properly edified on this, and this isn't subject to anybody's opinions. All right, so just like 1 Corinthians 14:40 states, they keep everything in decency and in order. All right. Let me just I'm going to do an audio check real quick. Let me see. Mic check, mic check. Funny enough, man, I do a live and then the train wants to come through. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't make this stuff up. Funny enough, man, I do live and the train. Yeah, man, funny enough though, man, all of a sudden there's a train that wants to go by at 8:30 at night. So for context, we need to go back, and I'm just going to do a quick summary of Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 through 11, which is ultimately, this is the spiritual dagger for those scoffing, man. Jeremiah 30, verse 7 through 11 proves unequivocally, without a reasonable doubt, that King David will be alive during Jacob's trouble. All right. And as we go forward in this lesson, other lessons, you'll see that he actually is in America too, man. So this is Jeremiah 7 through 11, and then we're going to get to Deuteronomy chapter 30. Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And it shall come to pass that in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break the yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So this is talking about during Jacob's trouble. This is when the redemption and ultimately the Hebrew Israelites will be freed from their final captivity under these devil-ass Edomites, man. All right. So this is still continuing on the premise of Jacob's trouble, going into verse 9. But they shall serve the Lord their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. So we see that this is still under Jacob's trouble, under that era, so to speak. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. All right, so this is going to take place in America, where the northern and the southern tribes are. Let me get this slide a little better. All right, Salakia on that. All right. I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee. But I will correct thee in measure, and I will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So, we're going to have to be tried through these tribulations. And the 2/3 is not going to make it, man. All right. So now we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 30, all right, which is the point of this video here. It's picking up off of that. So now we're going to look at how this so-called end era of Jacob's trouble is going to take place, man, during our time of a greater repentance. All right, during the Jacob's trouble, and we'll be in the wilderness, Avaratazah, and different things like that. So Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath driven thee. So in our diaspora, our scatterings, in this final time that we're in now, leading up to Jacob's trouble, pursuing of Ezekiel 37 and Revelations 11, the 1/3 are going to wake back up. And, we know that the curses are assigned unto us. And not only are we trying to let our own people know, we're letting everybody else know too. All right. And they hate it. And so do the 2/3 because they're going to die soon. All right. Because the Lord's not dealing with them. All right. So that's what's happening right now, man. Verse 2, and shalt return unto the Lord their power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul. And that's what we're doing right now, man. We're coming back into this truth, law, statutes, and commandments, worshiping Yahweh Yahweh Shai, man. And then for those that are gonna taste the physical death and a lake of fire, this is ultimately folly for them, and they think it's religious fanaticism, and they think it's a joke, or they might think that we're false prophets and false apostles, or that we're in some type of cult, right? But really, they're in a cult of Satan. Verse 3, then that the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee. So he's going to turn our captivity and have compassion upon us. Okay? King David is alive during this. All right? So this directly precepts up with Jeremiah 30, 7 through 11. This is the next precept that we should go to, is the chapter of Deuteronomy 30. All right? Then that the Lord thy power will turn thy captivity. So during the Jacob's trouble, during being in the wilderness, that's when our captivity is going to be turned. And have compassion upon thee, just like similar to Exodus, man. This is Exodus part 2. And have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy power hath scattered thee. And we've been scattered throughout the four corners, right? But we've been collectively gathered here in Babylon the Great, which is America. Verse 4, and if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost part of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. So he's going to gather us from the four corners, man. All right? Primarily, the body of us is here in the Americas, the northern and the southern tribes, to serve out, our captivity under these Edomites, the devil the Bible speaks of, the self-proclaimed white man, who the world worships like they are the Lord, man, especially the 2/3. So once again, verse 4, if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. So he's going to gather us from everywhere we've been scattered, which is everywhere. And the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed. So he's gonna place us in Israel technically, we have Hebrew Israelites, you know what I'm saying, in Israel today. They made it their business to go back there, but under the script of the Lord, that's what He wrote in. But technically, they went off doing that. You know, we shouldn't be there right now. But that's just how things played out. But you know, a lot of them aren't even fully dealing with the whole truth and understanding anyway, man. A lot of them, are really ignorant to a lot of things, and they wonder after the false Jews and their customs a lot of the times. But it is what it is. But the northern and the southern tribes are going to be gathered together. Salakia, we're going to be gathered together, and then we're going to be placed back in our homeland, man. And the Lord thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, the love of the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Salakia, he's going to circumcise. Let me read that over. And the Lord thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed to love the love. Salakia, to love the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. So when we get gathered back, he's going to make us perfect, man. All right, so we'll never be able to go off ever again. This is the new covenant. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies. So Deuteronomy 28 is going to flip for the heathens, man. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And we know that's all the heathens, the 2/3, with Edomites at the top. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. Now the 2/3, they're going to get utterly wiped out and killed, and they will be reborn through regeneration or reincarnation through the surviving elect, beginning with the 144,000. And the Lord thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. And the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. So we're going to be set back up in power and glory. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law. And if thou turn unto the Lord thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul. So this is what the Lord is asking of us, man, to turn to him with all our heart and with all our soul, man, to follow and worship Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, man. For this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. These prophecies are not far off. Us being redeemed is not far off. And this truth is not hidden from us any longer, man. It is not in heaven that thou shouldest say, who shall go up for us to heaven and bring it unto us that we may hear it and do it. So, this truth is not hidden to where someone needs to go up to the heavens, the heavenly realms, and bring down some type of understanding. The understanding is here. Neither is it beyond the sea that thou shouldst say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it. But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. So the elect, we have this in our minds, in our heart, in our body, in our spirit. We have these scriptures. We have the apostles, the prophets, doing these labors to edify the hopeful elect, man. So we don't have to go on these different voyages, to try to get some understanding. It's right here, man. And this internet, and we're pushing on the highways and byways, and we're uploading these videos around the clock. And this is scattering across the four corners of the globe. And that's the reason why Esau Edom is scared, because he knows his bitch ass is done. And that's why he tries to play with our views. He tries to make it seem like no one wants to watch our videos. And that's just all him trying to play mind games because he knows Jake looks at numbers first and then he decides to click on things because he's a fucking fool. Verse 14, but the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thine heart, that thou mayest do it. See, I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil. It always gets noisy when I'm bringing out the scriptures. It only gets noisy when I bring out the scriptures, and that's the demons being stirred up. See, I have set before thee this day. Ain't been noisy all damn day. See, I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil, in that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy power, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply, and the Lord thy power shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. So we're going to be going to possess this land very soon. We see World War One happening right before our very eyes. All right, Russia is going to invade the land of Israel. Okay, and then we're going to be set up real soon, man. I mean, This can be at the end of this year. This can be at the end of 2023. This can be as soon as 2024, man. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, man, Deuteronomy chapter 30 is, something that we need to fully meditate on right now in the spirit. All right, this is the instruction manual of where we're at right now. All right, 17. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, like the 2/3, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish. So the Lord's saying that these people are surely going to perish, man. So while they don't care about this truth, they don't want to hear these lessons, it's irrelevant because they're going to die very soon. They're going to die within the next 2 years, man. I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you. So the Lord has called, the earth and the heavens to record these days against those that don't want to come into this truth, man. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. And people are going to choose death, man. And King David is alive, and he's going to choose life, and he's going through the same thing that everybody else is going through that's in the 1/3, man. And so the time of him being revealed, we're in that window where a lot of spiritual things are taking place, are going to take place. The Lord is shaking things up, man. And the people that thought were the chosen ones are going to be revealed to not be the chosen ones, and the Lord's revealing the true chosen ones, the real elect, because man can't decide who the elect is, man. The Lord's already determined it before the foundations of the earth was laid. All this stuff has been determined, and there's going to be a lot of different signs and wonders and proofs, okay? And you got to have all those things to prove who's who and what's what, man. Verse 20, that thou mayest love the Lord thy power, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him. For he is thy life. The Lord, Yahweh Shai, is our life, man. This is Salakia. We need to be fully obsessed with this truth, fully locked in with this truth, man. This isn't the time right now to be worried about what's going on in the stands, man. This is game 7, man. This is everything. Everything that the scriptures talked about and prophesied, we're right at the most critical, deepest hours being fulfilled in front of our very eyes, that the Bible is real and people can't even see it, but we see it clear as day, man. This is the most amazing time ever, man. Except for when we, receive that full glory and see Yahweh Shai ultimately return and crack these skies open, man. We're in that window of all the amazing stuff. All right. For he is thy life and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. And also, for those that don't understand it, the reincarnation process, Jacob is King David. All right. Peter is King David, and Moses is King David. But those are some other lessons. That being said, I pray guys have edified. Shalom, 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 abba, ball, mawaf, la, adawam, y'all.